Who are you?
Bond. Jim Bond.
Okay, so finally talking about how to draw without perspective grids, like how to draw perspective without perspective, just like a magic, right? So everybody wants this kind of amazing skill from Kim Jung Gi. No, not from Kim Jung Gi, like Kim Jung Gi to be able to draw without pencil and stuff like this. And I was like talking a lot like how this is secondary when in reality it's like you need to first to understand system, understand structure, make sure you really understand what are you doing, and for this you spend a lot of time using pencil and drawing all these perspective grids. And here is not only my words, so look at this.
Under all the circumstances, Jung Gi thinks that it is always better to practice a lot with a pencil, to give more, to add more details, to add as much as details you can with a pencil.
왜 괜히 바로 그리려고 그러세요? 그렇게 그리지 마시고 그냥
Jung Gi really
평소대로 그냥 연필 스케치 하시고 그렇게 해서 그리시면 돼요.
Jung Gi really doesn't understand why people try to draw with pens directly on paper without any sketches, because you could just go on as you're doing right now at the moment to practice with pencil.
Okay, yeah. So as I say, like go watch interviews like this one. In interview is one of a video in a Kazun Art YouTube channel. There is also like a text interview with Kim Jung Gi. So it's important, it's very helpful to read this stuff. So, and anyway, like talking about this, like how to get to this level when you draw without perspective, it still requires this first stage when you practice drawing perspective with a pencil and when you draw on a perspective grid. So it's like I will give links. You again go to my tutorials like perspective for beginners part 1, perspective for beginners part 2. There is homework. You need to do this homework, and this is like a first stage which is give you this foundation. Like here, if like quickly recap this, after homework and after watching this my first 2 tutorials, you should be able to draw every type of perspective, like perspective grid for every type of perspective. So imagine just like in a movie, I don't know, like a Full Metal Jacket. So there is a guy screaming at you, wake up in the night like, "Rawr! Draw me like 5-point perspective," and you need to be able to draw it like very fast. So it's like here's have this fish eye with a curved horizon line, so you should be able to draw it without kind of flinching, right? It's like a build a sentence, so you don't kind of make this pause like I just did. You can do it fluently. So same perspective grid, it's so much foundational, essential level, so it should be very fluent. So here we have this kind of horizon line. Because then, when you're able to draw it very fluently like this, then it's kind of sign. It's a sign that you already have it in your brain. So from this stage, you will able to project this perspective grid on a paper without even drawing it. So it's just like, look at this, like, oh, perspective grid. So anyway, for drawing without perspective, first step will be draw perspective grid. And let's say, yeah, it will be with the cubes, with the boxes. So let's say you have this perspective grid for 2-point perspective. And you draw cubes in this perspective. So at first, because like you need to experience, you need to really observe how this structure works, right? So what I'm doing here, it's I'm following this XYZ. So every line on the cube is going towards one of third axis. So Z axis here have vanishing point. So I make this line which parallel to the axis in the cube going to the vanishing point. And even with the grid, I try to, for a certain extent, kind of eyeball it. So then we have two other axes. It's a vertical. So in 2-point perspective, vertical is just vertical. They're very easy. And X go to X vanishing point, right? So first step, first kind of part of your homework, it's to draw this kind of set of boxes. With perspective grid sketch. So you need to also make perspective grid sketch at this first stage. So, and here already is a very good practice. It's like it's already like you study multiple things. It's not only like keep in mind direction of these lines of edges in the cube. Also now you need to manage overlapping. So it's like, let's write here, say edges. So it's like directions, right? Over edges and overlapping. This kind of this essential skills which you will use a lot in freehand drawing. And third, what you notice here, why again you need to watch my video Perspective for Beginners. It's Kranz cubes. Or Kranz cubes. Okay, that sounds funny. Cubes. So, because like every cube anyway is very cleverly kind of like every possible angle of cube is being drawn in this chart by Kranz, or he discovered it somewhere, but I don't see it anywhere before Kranz. So it like he show rotation of a cube. So let's say here's cube facing camera is like 0 rotation, 0 angle. Then it's like 22 and 5 rotation. So we will see cube like this. So we have this ratio now like 1 and 3. Then will be ratio 2 and 2 and angle 45 and 45 angle look like this. And the mostly interesting it became when you start to rotate cube simultaneously, vertically and horizontally. So now cube is here horizontally rotated on 22 and 5. And now it both rotated horizontally and vertically. So both this cube, this how look cube which rotated both vertically and horizontally 22 and 5 degree. This how looks cube which horizontally rotated 22 and 5 and vertically rotated 45 degree. So it's very interesting because, like, again, this kind of charts, this kind of practice, is this how you create like very foundational, essential visual library? Because this kind of like some kind of like symbols, you know, like characters, hieroglyphs. Because before this chart, I was really have very limited idea of box rotation visually. I thought I can rotate it any way I want, but actually I've been kind of limited because I wasn't really have this one in my head, for example. And then in the Kranz chart of these Kranz cubes, there's like very little cubes. It's like maybe 8 different cubes, and they just like positioned little differently. So in total, you will learn only eight kind of symbols. And then what this chart together do make to you, it's also give you this like structure of rotation. So now when you have like 22 rotation, right, you can kind of imagine how will look like 12, something like between 22 and 0, right? So it will look just where's here 12 and 45, for example, right? Like if make it less angle, it will look just like this part will look like more narrow. That's it. So this how smart approach is very important, right? So it's like, don't just draw like 1 million drawings hoping you will be better. You will be better, but your progress will be so tiny. It's like if effectiveness is minimal. But when you're smart, like crayons, you know, and when you're smart, you go and you learn from the best in the art community, from these genius guys, right? You have this system, so now you understand, knowing how to draw like 22 angle. You can draw 12, you can draw 9 angle, whatever, right? So now because it will be just like about slight adjustment. And this is core thing about all understanding of structure. When you understand structure, when it's really like you implant it in your head by practice, you just need to repeat it a couple times to make sure your brain like get accustomed to it, right? Then all it's about adjustment. You just like make this kind of like little smaller this shape, little bigger this shape. Same like 45 and 22 here. Same. If you make like let's say kind of this one right between 22 and 45 angles. So it's not 22 and it's not 45 yet. And kind of play around. So here all cubes I draw is exactly this. It's exactly this. So I always like say like, yes, this one look like 45, but not quite. So it's like here is like ratio is not like equal 2 and 2. It's like maybe like 1/8 and 2 and 2 kind of this, you know. So but here you see the same, like I was telling here, it's like downward this cube according to viewer is rotated about like 10 degree maybe. So it's definitely less than 22 and 5. So it's maybe 10 or 12, something like this. So yeah, it's very interesting. So Kranz cubes. So you just like, you need to study it separately, and you will see how this Kranz cube thing applies here. So what also you notice is like this edges, right? So we might have this like a broken line here. So this kind of edges over cubes following this vanishing point. And then we have like, yeah, let's see. So I can draw just like stack of cubes, and then vertical will be same, just like whoop, whoop. So there, each edge of other cube show me direction of edge of a nearby cube, right? So you kind of see this relationship. You need to practice it. So this is what Kim Jung Gi do. He just can draw one object, and this object already will have these XYZ parameters, so which will tell him how organize other nearby objects according to this one. So yeah, later we'll also cover it. So here just notice these elements. So like here we have this goes. So I can draw box, I can draw cube somewhere here. So let's say, etc. So you can just start with one cube and then like extend it vertically, horizontally in this exercise. So let's say here extend horizontally, here extend vertically, and etc. Or you just can drop line somewhere randomly. Like this, and if you want, again, you can kind of draw more cubes here. So here example is this 2-point perspective grid. So you see I already like have here it's like 3-point perspective grid. So we have vanishing points for all three axes, right? So again, let's say if I draw practice kind of, this is what you should do. Also, I recommend you, if you don't do it yet, because I already mentioned it before. So you see like I have box here. What if I add immediately overlap and box? So I recommend before already, you should make sketchbook for practice. So like this one, you make separate sketchbook for train your intuitive perspective. In the first couple pages, it will be this perspective grids. So exactly like I show you here. So it will be like first page, you can make 1-point perspective first page, then second page 2-point perspective grid with a simple pencil or blue pencil. Third page 3-point perspective, 3-point perspective other side, then what's this? It's like 4-point perspective. I guess it's like tilted 2-point perspective. So tilted horizon 2-point perspective, then 5-point perspective, then one page with a tilted 5-point perspective, then one page with fish eye, curved horizon line, perspective grid, then this kind of fisheye perspective grid. So you can make like screenshot, you can stop video and redraw this perspective grid into your sketchbook. Then this one, it's a 5.45 angle perspective grid. I have this in a video, how to rotate in 5-point perspective. So it's kind of like, if in a 5-point perspective you have object like cube, for example, like this, like rotated to camera 45 angle. Well, later we'll explain again. So here it's a 5-point perspective, 45 angle vertically rotated. So box here, it's like this. Yeah, also I mentioned this in a tutorial about how to draw, how to rotate in 5-point perspective. So first pages, it's like your sketchbook, this separate, can be very cheap paper, you don't need like super paper for this, dedicated to train your intuitive perspective. But first pages will be pre-drawn perspective grid, and you will draw like perspective grid with pencil, and cubes you draw using some ink. It can be like this brush. This one very cool, I love it. It's Kuritake. It's like Kim Jung Gi use, but a new model. So you can just fill it with a syringe, like it's called syringe, I think. So just take some ink and inject here. It's very convenient. Can have any color. So with ink, you draw these cubes. You need this practice. So you train with these pages. You train your overlapping process, because you see, like I show in here, you need to plan couple step ahead, right? So I know, okay, here will be, like if I draw cube here, and if I want here be one cube in front of this cube, and here will be cube in front, so I will leave some space so I can draw immediately like this cube in front, and this, so it will be here, cube in front here. So you see, kind of overlapping require like prediction, because if you don't draw like transparent cubes, you need to be careful and let's see. Like here, like say, okay, if I draw these two edges, then I cannot draw overlapping cube. So I say, okay, I want to draw overlapping cube here, like this, right? So, and after I draw these two edges. So it's like very, it's kind of fun and not too difficult, right? So, and this very important essential skill, which is like so often you will use in your drawings, like me in urban sketches and all this environment drawings. It's always like this, like I say, okay, if I have some objects in front, then I will not draw ink before I draw these objects. So, same like here, I go to some box which I already, like based on my visual vocabulary kind of practice Kranz cubes, I can predict this box, this cube will look something like this. See? So it's kind of version. It's the same symbol like this one, just flipped. So I already kind of can predict. So here we have, yeah, you see? So then here will be like y-axis going to vanishing point in the bottom, then this z-axis. Ta-da! You see we have this like 45 and about 22 and a half type of cube. Same here, I see I can add line. So there like a very cool channel, Zeph Draws. He have nice also videos talking about this kind of intuitive perspective. Only like me, I want to add this part, which I think like for beginners, it's important. This part is very important to have real clear idea of how it works. You better practice more with the perspective grids. So here this one I do like higher, and it will be like this. Let's say. So yeah, you see also kind of you train your spatial like 3D perception. So here I like extending it. Let's say okay, it goes here. So don't make it over complex yet, and use at first for this practice you use this pre-drawn perspective grids. So it's not so difficult with the 1 and 2 point perspective, with this kind of linear perspective. So here like let's go here, or it's so annoying screaming. So let's say here's opposite angle. See again, it's like almost, yeah, it's kind of like 45 angle box. Same, you can extend it like here, because already established overlapping, so I can say it will go here. I can go draw it, extend vertically, and this direction. Right, so same. If I not pre-draw here, okay, now I can also take here, so it's little odd. I can draw that box here. So you see this like how you practice it. Here's like very narrow. How you practice this overlapping. So here before I draw, I think, okay, maybe I want to make this in front box. Так, whoa, like this. And I have here. Etc. Just kind of fun, you know. It's also is your so many practice with this exercise. It's your perspective practice, it's your warm-up exercise. So you can draw it in the morning. Also, it's your game to kill time when you need to wait something, like you're waiting in a line. You know, so everybody watch phone, but you have some piece of paper with you, and a pencil, and you can do this kind of exercises. It's like I say, you know, everybody's saying like, oh, you need to like plan special time. No, you have so many practice. You need to do so many different kind of practice. So, and a big part of this practice, don't need any special place, any special equipment. It's just pencil and paper, like any piece of paper. Yeah. Just cheap paper and some very simple pencil, and you can draw it like when you go to like mail, or you order pizza, you wait in your pizza, or you wait in your bus, your metro, you sit in the metro, so you can draw this stuff very easy. Just build this fluency kind of mileage. So here it's like it was like tilted 2-point perspective, and here when we go to curvilinear, yeah, it became like more complex. So here remind you like kind of quick refreshment. So this one is y above vertical vanishing point. Here is vertical vanishing point below. Y vanishing point is above calls zenith, below calls nadir. This in the center, it's a z vanishing point, and it's just straight lines. On the left is x for horizon, on the horizon line, going through z vanishing point, and right is x2. So it's like left and right side, top and bottom. So every line of a box will go to vanishing point. So let's say, again, I can draw first just one box, one cube, and then let's also randomly drop. Maybe here. And they say this one I want to add some more cubes, kind of stacking, following each other. Bigger. Same here, say like, okay, maybe I can draw one more cube here. So here I can add. So you see, I kind of look for this line, this edge, because they're kind of pointing towards each other. So this one, for next one, too, like dun dun dun, follow this vanishing point. Same if I want, I can draw now. It's to right, to left, and then if I want, I can try to align it with this one, right? See. So this training is kind of build your 3D grammar, 3D. It's like you make yourself, like your brain, like a blender, like this 3D software, when you can see 3D space and you can move objects in 3D space. Without computer. So, like I say, with all these applications for perspective grids, they're so boring. It's just unbelievable, like how someone will use it. Like, it's not so hard to learn perspective grids, and once you learn them, it's so easy to draw these grids. It's like I even like don't know like why you need all this like Procreate or Clip Studio to help you with perspective. Because like all these guides, they make perspective so stiff and boring. When you are drawing perspective grid yourself, you can distort it, you can squeeze it, you can just do whatever you want with this perspective. It's like it's a very important kind of part of artist's creative freedom. It's to have this control over nuances. So same this one, it's like, again, it's this box is just curvilinear. You see, again, it's same kind of 45 and about 22.5 grams box, just curved. So here I can make this overlap and go this direction. Let's do this. So let's do one more box can fit here. So you kind of like, you just need to track this. It's like when this surface is appear and degree, like how much of this surface we can see. Let's say, dun, dun, dun. Like here, you see, again, this surface, like a third surface of a cube. And here, it's like I make it more close to horizon line. So it's became like more narrow. Same can be like if I make it here, we cannot see this surface, but if I draw cube like more on the right, now we see this surface. I see. Like this, now the surface appears. So that's it, kind of. It's not so much parameters, it's just like more literate kind of approach. And etc. So you just can draw as much cubes as you want. This will be this kind of your pages in your sketchbook for your practice. I give you this demo. just same kind of 5-point perspective, but tilted. It's tilted like if we tilt camera. Like me right now, I'm also tilted because camera tilted. A very simple trick. You just rotate perspective grid, and now you have like more dynamic, more surreal, more like extreme, unusual perspective. And everybody say like, wow, how you did this? And I say, it's a secret. It's the artist's secret. I don't want to tell anyone. But you can reply, say, I can find this all secrets on a Jim Bond art YouTube channel. There is no more secrets. There only one problem what you need to deal yourself. It's a laziness, right? So all this procrastination, also your depression, all your lack of confidence, like, oh, I'm not sure, maybe I'm not talented enough to draw this couple lines on the paper. All this, all you left, this is your own battle. You need to manage it, and you can do it. Everybody has this problem, everybody fights, but like I say, nobody will fight it for you. Here is no secrets, no more secrets, just get over it. Keep yourself together, just move your feet, make this first step. You're very scary, like very nervous. Then you make second step, very scary and very nervous. Then you make third step, and then you say like, okay, like I'm still alive. Nobody like trying to kill me. So what's the problem? No problem. So that's it. It's like, don't be caught with this marketing traps when they like trying to market your, and not trying, they're doing it very efficiently. They're marketing your weakness, your weakness, your illiteracy. Like, instead of help you to get over your weakness and help you to be smarter, they just monetizing it. It's not capitalism. It's not capitalism. It's just evil. It's a nature of evil, and it's happen mostly in a non-capitalistic world. But in a capitalism, yeah, it's a marketing, right? They just brainwash you. Like, I see this advertising, it's like, oh, procrastination is not your fault. Maybe you will see this advertising under my video. Bullshit. Bullshit. Just ridiculous. Oh, procrastination, not your fault. So, what the hell is this? What does it mean, like, not your fault? Who cares? It's nobody's fault. It's just how it is. Like, you're lazy ass or you do something. That's it. Don't be freaking lazy ass. And who is fault? Nobody cares. Nobody needs this information. Who is fault? It's not like any fancy secrets about what is reason of your procrastination, who is behind your procrastination. Is there some like kind of secret organization or whatever? It's not important. It's always there. It's just human nature. It's just nature itself. It's always something trying to kill you, even you inside yourself, trying to destroy yourself. So, and you make decision, you want to be better or you give up. Don't give up. Fight. Fighting. And here I have this motivational Jing Bond video. Where is it? Yeah.
Madness. This is Jane Bond art.
Так, so all these perspective grids, so you draw for them. Okay, like maybe it's just like again quick demo. And when you finish with this exercise, with the drawing cubes in this perspective grids, it's okay if you like draw them different size, like they don't not necessary to be like exactly same size in a space. It's not necessary. When you finish with practicing drawing cubes in these different perspective grids, then you start drawing these cubes without perspective grids, but having like a certain perspective grid in the mind. So you will draw these grids as by drawing objects. So we can look on boxes, on the cubes, and we can say what kind of perspective grid it is. So it can be like this. You see, it's like very complex fisheye kind of grid. It will be easier with a 2-point perspective grid. I will show you how it works. So I have here like 45 angle, another 45 angle. So let's say now when you finish all these pages with these perspective grids, you have a new page and you draw, you say yourself, okay, this is like 1-point perspective. So, and you draw box. Say, okay, like this. What in 1-point perspective? It means these two edges of a box will converge into the vanishing point. This is the vanishing point on horizon line, right? So there is also invisible horizon line. But X and Z, so this X, they're parallel, they're not convergent, there is no vanishing point. So, or X and Y. So Y also is just like that, right? So all you need to do is just keep in mind where is horizon line and Z vanishing point. So say like, okay, maybe here will be second cube. Again, X and Y is just parallel, but you see, I know it's like Z vanishing point somewhere here. So to this. Also, it's kind of, it's very basic, but also can remind yourself, like talking yourself in your mind, is that when we see bottom of a cube, it means horizon line is below this cube, or cube is above horizon line. When we see top of a cube, horizon line is above this cube, or cube is below horizon line, or eye level, right? So then we see, okay, if I draw like stack of boxes, right? Stack of cubes, how it will look. And what I can do, I can look direction of this edge and then say like, okay, so let's go here. So this one will be a little more extreme. So then again, just parallel. Here, just parallel, and then I look, okay, this go here. They're kind of pointing there. Okay, so this kind of will be like this. Then if I draw like a smaller cube, let's say I draw this vertical and horizontal, and then I see, okay, vanishing point somewhere here, so we will see SH. So with only one vanishing point, it's very easy, but also worth practicing, just do like this, right? You can draw just random squares in the space. So say, somewhere here, like this. I also can see these lines, they help me to know direction. And now you also see like more cubes you have a better idea of a space you have, and it became more easier with more cubes. It's more and more easy to know how to draw other cubes, because they're all suggestion, direction, angle, kind of over axis, you see. So now like I say, they're revealing hidden perspective grid. We can see this kind of axis lines without actually see this grid. So this like 1 point. Then 2 point. So as I say again, like you will not able to draw these invisible grids, to follow kind of this invisible grids, if you don't practice them before. It's just kind of impossible, right? Very easy, kind of obvious, obvious point here. Nice. Thank you, Augustine. Yes, thank you, Junior Pineda, for comments. So in a 2-point perspective, we remember it's like there also it's about horizon line, and now we have Z and X vanishing points. So, but vertical is not convergent, it's just parallel vertical. So I can start anywhere box with a vertical line, and then I say, okay, how high horizon line from this? Maybe it will be in the center of a paper, right? So if it's in the center of a paper, then I say, okay, if like somewhere here will be, I maybe at first I don't want even think about where's this vanishing points. I just kind of draw 2-point perspective box, and this 2-point perspective box immediately will establish kind of this perspective grid. So say, okay, so now after some experience, this give you all information about perspective grid already. So like degree of this third surface telling you how far this box from horizon line. It's definitely below horizon line, below eye level, and it's pretty far. So like horizon line somewhere here, and then like you can even like ghost and vanishing point, no problem with that. It's just for your practice, right? So you can say, yeah, vanishing point somewhere here. This will be Z vanishing point, then horizon here, and X vanishing point outside paper. So, okay, so what I can do, I can like again do overlap and kind of stacking boxes. So in this kind of blind situation, I use boxes to tell me direction of axis. So here's this direction of x axis, this x axis, and this direction of z axis, right? So I can also like extend it here like this. Same this one, z axis, and vertical is just vertical. Parallel lines, they're not convergent. So I can do like this, I can extend it below, and do like this for all page, whole page. Then I can do it more difficult, like if I just drop other box, let's say here. Same, you see I can start this front edge, and now I see, okay, let's go here. So it's definitely above eye level, and this vanishing point here. So let's try. It will be some kind of this. Don't worry when you make mistakes, because definitely like when just this kind of intuitive perspective drawing, it's always will be wrong, always. And if you look closely, Kim Jung Gi drawings, when he drew intuitive perspective without grids, it's always wrong. Even in the Kim Jung Gi works, it's always wrong. So only trick is that no, let's say like professional kind of literate approach to this thing is knowing when and how you make mistakes. So by practicing this, you will know how much you will make it wrong if you don't use perspective grid. So in cases when you want make sure it will, when you want it to be more precise, you will draw perspective grid. In cases when you say like, okay, it's fine, like I can afford it kind of for this case of draw without grids, it will be okay if it will be some errors in perspective, no big deal. So in this case you will avoid drawing perspective grid and just freehand kind of intuitively draw the stuff. Same, let's drop it here, like ghosting vanishing point, say kind of this. So this kind of two types of boxes of cubes you try to draw, like following them, like kind of stacking, extending, and randomly drop any size. You can, they don't need to be same size, like they can be like, let's try like a very big one. So now again I can like try to ghost vanishing point, or I can look at this direction already. So like this angle give me idea. So here will be my huge box, and this I have angle here, so kind of following it, right? So let's see. Here is kind of this. So if this one here, then it's like, yeah, it's kind of became extreme distortion here. So you see, even this like 2 point, oh, so here's like directly on the horizon line. 2 point perspective is kind of will make you busy. But also like you can make it more fun if you allow you make yourself make it more wrong, which is also fine. Then you can do like page with this kind of 2 point perspective, invisible grid with a tilted y-axis. So it's like this vertical will be like tilted like this. So here I drop, for example, some edges, vertical edges for these cubes, and then I can draw one cube, let's say this one. So this cube will kind of tell me where is the horizon line and where is vanishing points. So okay, now we know horizon line is right in the middle of this cube. It's here, right? And the vanishing points, oh, it's kind of very close. So one z vanishing point here, x vanishing point here. So I can make it more obvious if I will continue. Okay, so this vanishing point here, very close. And so have kind of stack of these cubes. So remember, y-axis is not convergent here, so don't make it like fish eye. So let's. So now it will look very weird. Like we'll have like crazy distortion. So we have this x vanishing point here, some kind of this. Because usually in a 2 point perspective we don't have vanishing points so close. But if you make them so close, still let's see what will happen. Так. So here. Or crazy cube. It doesn't look like cube anymore. Look like this. Same here. Так, oh. Yeah, this is start to break in my brain. first time I draw cubes on the other side of vanishing point in 2-point perspective. Break on through to the other side. Yeah. Yeah, so it became like absolutely madness like this. Так. Так, this one. Так, let's see. What? So this is how to make simple perspective, not simple, just don't try to repeat it at home. Так, but anyway, yeah, so it's telling you ideas. So we have 2-point perspective with a tilted camera, like Dutch tilt. Dutch is like have T or not, forget. So then you can do like curvilinear, so say like 5-point perspective grid, ghost and kind of invisible 5-point perspective. So in 5-point perspective, it's 2 axes have curvature and 1 axis it's a straight line. It's this one, right? So Z axis it's a straight and vertical, and X axis is curved. So once you practice it like this, so now try to recreate it in your without drawing by like revealing with the cubes. So now I kind of establish it. So I say, okay, here is this Z vanishing point. And like I say again, it's also help you to fight this like perfectionism, because it's more about perception of perspective, not about like building it mathematically precise. We don't need this like mathematical precision. Because again, like Kim Jung Gi is a perfect example of how it's all about viewer. So it's good when you convince viewer that this is correct. So it should look correct, and it doesn't mean it is actually correct. So it can be all like totally off. It's like instead of one vanishing point as you planned, you end up with 20 vanishing points. Just accidental random vanishing points, you know. So, but nobody notices it. So usually like people who will check your perspective, like when it's already like correct, it looks correct, everybody thinks it's like, oh, you drew perfect perspective, everybody tells this. And only couple like grumpy losers will like, oh, I know now why everybody likes this artist. I want to debunk him. Like I want to prove everyone he cannot draw. He drew everything wrong. You know, it's just like some people like who somehow like their ego gets they feel like your art like make them harm, like damage their ego. So they want to prove everyone that you are not so good as everybody think. So then they will take ruler and start to running around your picture with a ruler, screaming like it's wrong. Look, he don't know how to draw. But what is important here, they are not your target audience. You not draw for them because they cannot appreciate art, right? They only care of themselves. Так. So, because like I say, art is always not perfect, and the only viewer who makes art perfect because he want miracle. Like viewer wanted to be like best experience in his life. So kind of, you know, in our society, in our community, people kind of looking for miracles, looking for greatness. So they wish you to be great, actually, you know. They wish like you go like, just imagine like you draw in a street and some people walk so like, oh, there's artist. And they already start to kind of like like expect this thing like, oh, I will approach and I will look in his what he drew, and there is a real masterpiece. So in my street, in my town, here's like a real artist drawn his pictures. It's amazing, you know. So he already started to imagine this kind of picture in his head. So this random um, pedestrian kind of, he subconsciously he desire you to be great. He want you to be great. This because he needs this in his life. And when you really like good enough to kind of match his idea of a great artist, just like you close enough, you're not actually great, you know, like you're just average kind of, or you like one of many artists, you're not like legend yet, but you are so good that average people who don't know specifics like you know, for him you are a genius. He and he's like Russian. He rushed himself. He's like happily like kind of jumping in this imaginative idea that you are great and the best artist. So that's it. That's how it works. Like most of people in a healthy society, like if they're not struggle too much, if they're not like surviving, if they're like living good life, they have this desire, they want, they expect and they wish you be one of these great artists, and they help you. They kind of imagine, create your image as your super artist. So it's kind of interesting. So I mean, realistically, it's kind of, it's your target audience. So it doesn't mean like you want to be like, oh, I'm a genius. No, it's about that it's kind of healthy, normal reaction. If you really make something good, people can lose their minds. They're like, oh, wow, it's a genius. It's unbelievable. And this for you, it will be just like a sign that, you get to certain level. So you can like blow people's minds, right? You can shift them. So kind of this, you see just here, this z vanishing point, here's this x vanishing point, and here I make this x vanishing point go farther away, so it's not symmetrical 5-point perspective. But it's still kind of 5-point perspective, you see? And that's what I mean with freehand perspective drawing. Is still like look realistically, but you kind of like stretch it, you turn it, twist it, whatever you want. Так. So, let's see. Here, I can draw. Say like this. Here will be like this. And when you see you cannot manage it, you feel like, oh, I cannot, I don't get it, right? Then you go back to this step when you draw perspective grid and draw boxes in this perspective grid. And you can even like make it even more like to make sure you make it right. It's like when you draw box, you can draw like every edge of box like this, like from vanishing point to vanishing point. So say, okay, this go like that, this go like that. So now, okay, now I get this, right? And it's totally fine because your goal is not to, on a beginner level, you don't want to impress people or yourself or whatever. And a beginner level on this, your growing process, you want to make sure you understand it. You need this clarity. So here I have this point. Okay, so now I have like very clear idea like this. Okay. Also, what's important here is like when you draw this kind of, you can draw like randomly, draw box, cube. Let's see. It's like when you draw this kind of exercise, or not exercise, or when you just want to draw intuitively perspective grid, you need to be more careful. Now you need to look like whole picture. Like you need to make sure like your hand doesn't cover your perspective, because like if you like cover some grids, then you start to lose in direction. So make sure you see all this and this. So it gives you like, you will have this like invisible perspective grid in your mind. So like, okay, yeah, I see this. So all them clearly pointing here. So, so I can draw box here. But then like what happened with this curvature? So here it go like this, here it go like this, so here it will be something like this, right? So to draw one line, you need to look at all picture, all other lines. Then this, yeah, okay, let's go here, house curvature here, let's go something like that. And there's like, how, let's go like that, oh, it will be very strong here, because one point is here. And it's like, oh, I have crazy box now. Some kind of this. Okay. So here this became like, because when with this perspective grid kind of like is a little like this frame which help you to avoid it make it easier. You don't need to kind of look all picture kind of it so you can become like little lazy because you have this now line, so you kind of like became like focus on this area, right, without looking full picture. You just watch this direction, so, and then you watch this like, oh, there's vertical here, so it's kind of you can get away kind of with being less attentive. But when you don't have grids, okay, now you need to make sure you see all behavior, like how all these boxes behave, how they show it. Oh, nice. Hello, Boolean. Yeah. Так, so same like here, see like, oh, we have this y axis go in this direction. So I can talk about vanishing point. I can say like, oh yeah, vanishing point here. And also I can talk about like this grid for y-axis, right? Like kind of in my head, I kind of extend this. I say like, oh, here this one goes to this vanishing point, kind of. And here this vertical grid goes this way. So I can like, okay, like look big picture. Right, same this one. So it's kind of convergent this direction. So and this how you improve your intuitive perspective. Because first, like you can be like more careful. So I see like here's like so this will be like between here and this one. But then you will be more like quick and fluent. So this one here. Say like this. Or here I want to drop. So you kind of imagine this grid. Так, so let's say here, go into this. And why? How? Why? This kind of creates this it's like first it's kind of like you need to consciously control all these three axes. Then it became like automatic skill. And you just kind of start to feel this 3D space. And yeah, first it's with the boxes, but then you can go to like little more complex objects. So here, let's break for little couple minutes. Dun, dun, dun. Second. 20-second break. Так.
Who are you?
My name is Bond.
Jim Bond.